welcome to a few Goldilock Bears podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about things we love, things that we hate, and things in the middle. This could be things that we're indifferent about, that we're ambivalent about, that we're on the fence about. These are the gray areas of life. These are the things that aren't in the black and white, that they don't maintain to your precious polar opposites.
Hello, I am Vincent Cloud.
I'm John Nemitz.
And I'm David Lauer.
And before we get into our lovely topics, our hateful topics, or whatever you want to feel about them, let's talk about old topics. In the segment we call the Deja Fuse, go ahead, John.
All right, so here's one that I feel like you've tried to bring up a few times and it's fallen on deaf ears, but I've got something now. So this is two women plus a man equals comedy. Two men and a woman is romantic. I've watched a couple of movies over the past few months where they're comedies and it's two men and a woman. So 13 going on 30 um is um
Jennifer Garner, right?
Jennifer Garner and Hulk, what's his name?
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
And some other guy. And the one I just watched, Bridget Jones' Diary. It's God, why can't I remember anyone's name? It's
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant, Colin
Renee
Firth,
Zellweger.
and yeah, Renee Zellweger. And like I could see 13 going on 30 being more rom than com, even though it's like a body switch comedy movie. But I'd say like Bridget Jones is a straight up comedy and she's goofy in it and like she's a fuck up and it's um it falls contrary to the normal formula, I'd say.
Yeah, and good for that movie. It's just like typically though, it's just like, oh my God, I don't know who to choose between these two men. Meanwhile, like the man is like, I don't know who to choose between these two women. It's a totally different attitude. The majority of those movies, yeah. Renee Zellweger, she, yeah, she's playing a British woman, right?
Yeah,
She's not British though, is she?
I don't know. I kind of assumed she was after that,
Oh, really?
but I
Maybe,
don't know.
oh, maybe she. I have no idea.
I just figured she was some chick from Florida. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Holy shit.
Oh,
Remember when she got that plastic surgery and didn't look like herself for like, I don't know, a year or something? Remember that?
no.
Yeah, she got
Crazy.
like, I don't know what she did to herself, but yeah. I was like, oh, her career's over. But I think she just basically let her face settle back to how it usually is and then went back to acting. Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah,
I was just remembering this incorrectly. Because I wrote this down quite a while back. The 13 going on 30, I meant as I think it was Ruffalo and two different women, but it was more like a romantic movie. But I guess Jennifer Garner is like the star of it, so it's all from her point of view. But it's like Ruffalo's the one with like two different women he's choosing between. And
Oh,
it's
she's trying to steal him from her though, right?
um well, she gets transported into the future and yeah, like he's engaged to someone else and it's yeah, she's trying to get him or
Right. It's
yeah.
very My Best Friend's Wedding where Julia Roberts trying to talk the dude, oh my God, what's his name? He's awesome. I just can't think of his name. From stopping him from marrying Cameron Diaz, something like that. So it's a guy and two girls, and it is a comedy, but for him it wasn't a comedy. He's just like, what are you doing, Julia Roberts? Like, I'm trying to be happy with this one woman. And she's like, no, but think about us, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so thinking about that, that's a little different.
Yeah, and I
Because
think
like if he was a star, if he was the center of the movie, then that would be more applicable. All right, I'm
yeah,
still sticking with Bridget Jones though.
yeah, I want man, there's been three now. They just made a third one?
If not four.
Oh shit, okay. Whoa. Yeah, I wonder if she is British. That would make her seem cooler. I don't know.
She's
Yeah.
from Texas, so
Oh,
I was
okay.
half right.
Yeah.
Oh, so when she was hamming it up in Cold Mountain, that was her actual accent. Oh my God. Wow. Uh, should we start the show? You know?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Dave.
I want to talk about the Masters. If anybody knows anything about golf, you might have heard of the Masters, but it might just mean nothing to you. But the Masters is a golf tournament, and it's the best golf tournament. It's a PGA, a Professional Golf Association, and the Masters is kind of like the Super Bowl or like the best championship tournament in golf. And it's already happened this year. It happens in like I would say like March or April. I forget exactly the time frame. But the Masters, there's like four major championships. There's the Masters, the US Open, the British Open, and then I think the PGA Open. This is um and the Masters is just the best. Like everything about it. The golf course is just incredible. Just watching it on television is just this surreal experience because I've watched a lot of other golf tournaments and none of them match the Masters. Like the way the course looks, it's just more beautiful. That like every like hole at the Masters, it's it's the first hole through the 18th hole, but they all have a different name. They're all named after like a certain flower or a certain tree, and that particular plant is featured around where the tee box is, where they first hit the ball, and then they'll also feature that plant around like the edges, around the on like the fringe, around like the sand traps or something. But like everything, every single hole, you can go on Wikipedia and look up every single hole has like its nickname, and it's like a plant. And like the landscaping done at this course is just it's the best of the best. Like it's that's what golf is known for. It's just like awesome landscaping and all the nice cut grass and everything, all the sand traps, all the smooth sand, and everything's like very meticulous and clean. And so it's just part of like the Masters is just the best of the best. And the Masters is really cool because it has like tons of history to it. There's the sports aspect of like, only the greatest golfers win, like Jack Nicholson or like Jack Nicklaus,
Yeah.
not Jack Nicholson. Tiger Woods, Ben Hogan, like the greats. All you're to be like one of the greats, you have to win the Masters, really. Um, and like, I really want to go. I just actually, like last week, I put in an application to get tickets to go view it. So, in order to get tickets, you every year, like in like May or June, you go onto their website and you can enter in your email, your address, and only one person per household can submit an application. And then it's like $160 for a day. And it goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's 4 days. And you just go into a lottery system. They take all the applicants, they randomly choose, how many, the people are going to go, and then you'll just get like a phone call or an email and be like, hey, you won tickets, you got to purchase them, like give us your credit card. And like to go and watch it would be amazing. It's in Augusta, Georgia. It's just like a regular town. It's just like a regular, just like any other town. People are like, the town's just a regular town, but then you have this incredible golf course that's right next to it. And like when you go there, the concession stands are like super old timey. You just get like cold sandwiches, like an egg salad sandwich or a pimento and cheese sandwich or a turkey sandwich, and they're $1.50 for a sandwich. And like you get a bag of chips, it's like $1. like a beer is like $3.50. Like all these prices are like straight out of the 1980s, and they don't go up, and they're still like it's part of their thing because they make their money like from their advertisers and stuff like that. They want to have like that old-timey feel where it's just like you don't have to pay a lot. You're eating like vendored food, like, and you can't bring in outside food. You have to buy the food, so you're just eating these sandwiches, but they're dirt cheap, so it's like it's a trade-off. And there's like a bunch of obscure rules for the Masters if you're gonna actually watch it. Like you can't wear blue jeans. That's against the rules. You have to wear like you can't wear shorts either. You have to wear like khaki pants if you're a guy. If you're a girl, you can wear dress pants or you can wear like a long dress or maybe a short dress. I don't really know what the women's dress code is. But for guys, like you can't wear a backwards hat. It has to be on straight forward. It can't be backwards. It can't be tilted to the side. Like none of that. You can't have a cell phone. So like there's other tournaments in golf where everyone's got their phone out and they're recording stuff and taking pictures. Like you can't do that at the Masters. Like there's no cell phones. Like everyone is just there watching, living in the moment. Like you can't like heckle, you can't like yell. Like you have to be very respectful or they're gonna kick you out. Like and it's I don't know. There's something about it where it's just like everyone is like such like a gentleman about it and it's like a gentleman's game and like nobody I don't know. There's anytime I watch sports, I watch like UFC and football and basketball and baseball, and all of them, everybody is always talking trash. They're yelling at refs. The the crowd is yelling at them, or they're yelling at the crowd. But like not in golf, not at the Masters. Like everyone's a gentleman and they're like respectful towards each other and they have manners. And there's something about that I'm like, oh, it's so awesome. So and I love watching it because it's visually appealing the sound wise, you just hear the birds chirping, and then like everyone will be really quiet, and then they'll respectfully clap when it's time to, and then they'll be quiet again. So watching it on TV, it has like that weird like ASMR, like relaxing, like watching Bob Ross paint a picture or something. So it's very relaxing to watch. It's just everything about it, it's so perfect. And then it happens for 4 days. I watch it on like Paramount Plus or like ESPN, the app, and then it's gone. And then like I try to watch other golf tournaments and none of them even compare.
Wow. Yeah, I might have watched some, but like you said, maybe I watched the US Open or something and just don't know the difference. Um, I don't know. And personally to watch that sounds fun. I don't know about watching it. I'd rather be there playing or at least there watching. I like golfing myself. Dave, you do, right? You like golfing? You have
I
golfed?
I like to golf, but I like to more importantly, I like to drink and drive a golf cart around.
Yes.
That's more my sport. The golfing is just an excuse to do the other two things.
John, have you ever watched this?
I watched like a compilation of what was like all the Eagles from this year's tournament and stuff, but I think it's maybe not like the same as like watching the whole thing. Problem is like I don't know enough of the golfers to like know who's favored to win, know who's the underdog, or really get a good feeling for like, oh, like wow, this is like they're doing way better than expected, or something like that. I've definitely been places where there's golf on, and it is like a good kind of background thing to kind of half pay attention to on the TV. Um, but I've never gotten big into watching it. What you're saying about the Masters versus every other tournament is very interesting to me. Um, like, um, when especially when you talked about being named after trees and flowers, like that's very tied into what I'm going to be talking about next. But the the whole like rules and rituals and everything about attending is kind of up my alley as well, just to think about that. Um, but at the same time, like feels like, oh, like it's just like exclusionary and that kind of stuff. But if you're catering this big private event, like, yeah, you should do it how you want to do it and make it super fancy and arbitrary.
Yeah, like so you can apply to get tickets, but that doesn't mean you'll get accepted, right?
Yeah, it's just you submit an application and then you hope you get lucky and you get called, you know. But and I'm sure there's a certain amount of like the owners who run the place, I'm sure there's a certain amount of tickets that they're going to give away to their friends and business partners and sponsors and whatnot. But then the general admission type tickets, however many they have left, it's kind of randomizes it so that way it's because I mean, otherwise, you don't want to run into like a Ticketmaster situation where they put it online on like on sale on the website. A bunch of bots or scalpers scoop up all the tickets and then resell them all for a super high price. This way, they're avoiding that where they're like 160 bucks a ticket per day. And you had to like when you show up there, that ticket has your name on it and you can't sell that to anybody else. It's only a ticket for you. So it gets rid of scalpers.
It just occurred to me, no golf course has like, I mean, has anywhere to sit because what you're doing to travel is on the cart, right? So if you
Yeah.
paying to watch, are you just like sitting on the grass, you know?
No, you're allowed to bring in like a plastic folding chair if you want. So some people will stand and they'll walk around like kind of they won't walk the entire course. I guess you could, but you're going to get really tired of walking that much. But people will generally bring a chair and they'll be like, "Hey, the first 3 hours I'm going to sit by like the seventh hole." And then, and be like, all right, let's pack up and we'll move down and we'll go stand by the 11th hole or something. And then you'll just watch there. And then like you can pick up your chair and move around. They have it gated off like where the crowds can move and you're not gonna like impede any of the golfers that are on the course or that cart path.
Hmm.
But yeah, you have a freedom to kind of move around and you can stand if you want. Like if I'm going to be there all day, I'm going to bring a folding chair because I'm not going to stand on my feet for 12 hours straight. I'm going to sit down.
Yeah, and like, but I imagine like a golfer I knew where I'm excited about it. I'm like, I'd want to follow that golfer from hole to hole.
Yeah, I think like by the end of the day, like everybody's starting to crowd like the 16th, 17th, and 18th hole because they want to see like what happens, especially on the final day when like the very final hole, like the 18th hole, like that's what's going to decide who's the champion and whatnot. Um, I think like John was mentioning like not knowing a lot of the golfers and like who to root for, who's good, who's not. Last year and then this year, Netflix came out with a documentary called Full Swing, and it has like 6 or 8 episodes, and there's like two or three golfers. And it's just recorded like a documentary and it follows two or three golfers. It shows them like behind the scenes and they're playing like a couple tournaments. And they just kind of go over their lives where they're talking about like, well, I'm recovering from this injury, and it's just a sneak peek. The camera just follows them around. It shows their wife, their kids, like them going into practice. Like they go and they'll just talk about this like stuff they do to prepare, like what they like to eat. If they work out, like how do they work out? Like, and they'll show them like behind the scenes at golf tournaments, and they just take clips of them having conversations, so you get to know the person a little bit more. Because when you're watching golf, you're just watching a guy wearing a nice shirt and nice pants, and you don't know anything about him because he's not talking at all. But like on that documentary, you get to kind of know like, oh, that person's always been portrayed like Bryson DeChambeau has always been portrayed as like this like this dude bro guy because he works out a lot and he's like a gym bro. And it's like he's not. He's just like a really like normal dude. And you're like, oh, like the media tries to like spin like who they want this person to be to like make him controversial in a way. And then you like watch the documentary and you're like, I don't see that at all. Like it's just a regular dude.
Okay, so you said these tournaments are like 3 or 4 days long. So does that mean like say if Tiger Woods goes there, he plays 18 holes 4 days in a row?
As long as you're towards the top of the leaderboard. So you'll have like 100 and I don't know, I forget if it's 150 or 100 golfers, and then the worst 50 get cut and they don't play the next day.
Oh
And
wow.
then the next day the worst 50 get cut. And it's a cumulative score. So they take your first day score plus your second day score. And then I think once it gets narrowed down to 50 or something like that, I'm just throwing out arbitrary numbers. I'm not really sure. Um, then you'll just have like, okay, you made the cut. So like after each day, like the bottom, how many percentage gets cut and they don't play on. So that way, the day of golf, if you have all these people playing all these holes, it's just going to take forever. So by like the third and fourth day, it narrows the field down and the day goes by quicker because there's less golfers to play.
Wow. Okay, that's a little different though, because that would be like uh Ninja Warrior seeing them run the course again and again and again. That would kind of suck. I
Yeah,
mean,
and it's
I would
interesting
yeah.
because, well, just like watching the scoreboards, you'll have a guy you're rooting for, and he'll do great the first day, and then he'll do really good the second day. But then the third and fourth day, they just kind of fall apart, and they're playing terrible, and you're like, oh man, like this guy, I thought he was going to win it all, but now he just kind of fell apart, and it's you're playing the same holes, over and over, so it's about consistency.
Wow.
Now, Dave, have you watched much golf live, like in person in general?
Not like professional golf live. Like I've gone to golf courses and, with friends and buddies, but never like an actual. I've seen a few guys on the like course where I'm like, oh man, that guy is legit good. But no, I haven't really like watched a tournament or anything.
Like I find when like someone hits the ball, or honestly, even like after I hit the ball, like I really struggle to see where it's going. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like watching it and like if you lose sight of it, I'm like, I have no idea where that thing just went.
Yeah, I was just at the baseball game. Like they would hit the ball up in the air, and a baseball is what, three times the size of a golf ball. I would immediately lose it. And I'm like, the ball could be coming right at my face, and I lost it in the sky. And I had to look down at the field and look at the players and watch their reactions because they all seem to see it and they're running in the direction of the ball. Where I'm in the outfield, I'm like, I hope it's not flying towards my face because I can't see it. Um, that is like a skill or something. I don't know. Maybe they have special like polarized sunglasses where they can see it better. But when I go golfing, I struggle with that too, where like I'll see it and then I'll lose it, and then you're just trying to hunt for a ball, and you're like, I think it went over here by this tree, but I don't know. But maybe maybe it landed short of the tree, or maybe it was to the right, and you just can't find it.
I mean, I did disc golfing with Vince last summer, and I've had that same problem.
Oh wait, so ha you've golfed though? Golfed, John?
Yeah, I've golf not I'm not like avid or anything, and um like all I've done the past few years is like that Top Golf place where it's like basically the darts version of golf. Um the only time I've gone on a course, oh man, I now thinking about what company I worked for at the time, that was over 10 years ago. Um, where just we'd like have a fun, like everyone from the office who wanted to could sign up on a team of four and go play golf. And we were more into the shenanigans than the actual golf. Like, we would all lie about our scores, but it was like the art form of like we wanted to lie enough to not be in last place, but not lie so much that we like won a prize. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to steal a prize from someone who's actually good, but you want to like make yourself look better.
It's kind of like
Um,
cheating on your homework, where you're like, I could get 100%, but that's
Yeah.
not going to be believable. I'm
Right.
just going to shoot for an 87.
Exactly. Um, one year we brought um like the team behind us were like super like serious golfers. Like they're doing it like once a week on like on the normal in normal times. And we brought a bag of marshmallows along and we just like left them all over. So they'd hit their ball and like they'd have no idea where their ball was because it would just look like there was a million of them on the course.
I've never heard about that. That's amazing. I want to do that.
When it comes to golf, I have a very good drive. That's the very first swing, you know. But after that, I start to fall apart, and like I don't have that nuance for the putt, you know. It just kills me when you miss it. You're just like, oh my God, you feel it in your bones. It's crazy.
Well, that's okay because there's some of the best golfers in the world. They just struggle to putt, and like sometimes they're just like they've been struggling the last few tournaments, and they just can't hit their putts. But like once they get in the zone and they can, then it's like they're unstoppable. But it's I don't know. It's like baseball where like a guy is good at swinging and hitting the ball, but once he gets into a funk and can't do it, then he's just like, oh man, he's cold right now. He's got to heat back up.
What do you win? A jacket, right? Like a green
Oh
jacket?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You win a green jacket. And it just has like the Masters logo on it. And it's just like a fancy green jacket. And so like you get to keep that jacket. There's only one in circulation, basically, is the way it's supposed to be. So Rory McIlroy won this year's Masters. So he is the only person who has a green jacket and is wearing it around. And then next year at the next year's Masters, he has to return and he has to give the jacket back. And then they hang it in their little Hall of Fame. I think it's stupid you have to give it back. But then whoever wins it next year, last year's champion has to put the jacket on the next winner. So that leads to a lot of like awkward exchanges because usually the guy who's putting it on the other guy, they're kind of rivals
Yeah, yeah.
and like they were just duking it out and the one guy just lost and he couldn't repeat as champion. But like one time, I think Scotty Scheffler, I think he won back to back. So then like he couldn't put the jacket on himself. So then they had like the owner of the club come over, one of the
Oh.
owners, because there's
It's
there's
like
like
the
a
that meme of Obama putting the medal on Obama.
yeah.
Wow.
Gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a hoot? That's the TV version.
Oh, really? Um, yeah, like, but what about size? You know, like, what if you're bigger than the previous champ, you know?
I'm convinced that they have like a locker of jackets
Oh,
that are
okay.
different sizes.
Okay.
And they're like, okay, if these 8 players win, they're all, I think they take all their measurements and stuff, like their arm length and their inseam or shoulder width or whatever. And if these guys win, they'll have a jacket. But like, if there was like John Daly, that really big golfer, if he like won, I guarantee you they wouldn't have a jacket that would fit him. Or like there's got to be somebody who's really tall or something, and it's like he's gonna have a short. His sleeves will only go down half his forearm
Had
or
to go to the
something.
big and tall store for the.
Yeah,
Isn't the Stanley Cup that way too? That there's only one of them, and like the teams pass it around based on whoever wins.
I'm not sure.
Versus like the Lombardi Trophy, where like I think there's like a new one made every
Yeah,
year.
yeah. I think with the Stanley Cup, I think you might be right because I think some guy got into a lot of trouble because they were celebrating. I think he like dropped it and broke it, and everyone was like, because like you can't break it. That's it's like the only
That's the
one.
one.
You know what? I like that idea of like there could only be one around. I because for the UFC, you know, you could defend your belt like three times and then you go to their house and they have four belts. It's like, oh, so you get a new belt every time you defend. That's I don't know why. It seems to cheapen it to me. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I was so confused when I found out that the UFC It was like if you defended your title 3 times, you got 3 different belts. And I'm like, no, you defended the same title. Otherwise, you had to
Yeah.
give the title away to the next. Like, that's how pro wrestling works. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea of just one jacket, but there isn't just one jacket. There's many jackets, right? You said the previous champ has to retire or give up their jacket and then that'll be put up in the rafters, right?
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's kind of like a Hall of Fame, and they have like, every year's champion and then their jacket hanging there.
Are they running out of space? Where is this place?
It's a
I
Men's
don't know.
Warehouse. They're fine.
Yeah.
It's like the end of Indiana Jones. Like just endless boxes. Oh man. All right, a segue challenge for nah.
Tee off a new topic.
All right, go ahead, John.
I love houseplants. They're decorations that can die, and keeping them alive is fun. Um, I particularly like ones that like have drastic change as you keep them. Like they grow quickly, and um, like I have a cactus and like a couple succulents, but they don't do much. They just kind of sit there, and sometimes you wonder like, are they alive still? Like, would I know if it died? But like I have one in particular that like another thing I like about them is like the propagation that I was at like a coffee shop and I just kind of like cut a little piece of their plant off and stole it and I'm like uh propagated it at home and then now like this one little thing like 6 inches tall has now like grown and I've like cut like four different clippings from it and each of those clippings are now like 6 feet long and stuff like it's just
Wow.
like yeah they weren't going to do that at the coffee shop like I've done way better for that little piece than they ever would have and um it like they give you oxygen when you need it the most they there's studies that have shown that like just looking so like it makes sense that like being in nature is good for your like mental health and like even physical health but even just like looking at houseplants or even fake plants can improve your mental well-being which I thought was interesting but it's just a sense of pride in keeping a plant alive um and like an actual animal to me would be too much commitment too much work, but a plant's the right level that like I can forget about it for a week and it's pretty forgiving.
A little
It's
too horrifying when they die.
yeah. Like you got a dog that dies, you're gonna know immediately.
Oh.
My cactus, not so much.
If your plant gets pissed off at you, it's not going to take a giant dump on the floor.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, um, cactus. That's cool. I feel so stupid asking this, but do they grow, or does it depend on the cactus?
Yeah, they'll definitely grow in size, but like very slowly,
Okay.
compared to a lot of other plants. Like I've had one for a couple years that like maybe if I like took a photo of it when I first got it and compared it, there'd be a difference, but I like I can't tell a difference.
Succulents look like plastic to me.
Yeah.
Don't
So
they seem weird?
yeah, some of them like the waxy weird. Yeah, some of
Yeah.
them are very plasticky.
Also, I'm gonna name my band Decorations That Can Die. That's a badass name. Uh, okay, so growing up, or my mom had plants and stuff, but I mean, yeah, sometimes they'd be like, oh, feed the plants. And I'm like, okay. But it was never exciting. Maybe pouring water inside the house is fun. I don't know. I guess it's okay. But since then, though, I haven't had any plants. I'm not even sure what I would get. The Venus flytrap is freaky, isn't it? You ever see
Yeah.
those things? Eat things? They're like like really slowly munching down.
hmm
Uh,
Like
oh,
uh like Luke Schmidt.
Venus, Luke Schmidt. um, there was another thing that I had. Oh no, 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 bonsai trees. That seems interesting to me. Aren't those like very zen and like you just like you have no choice but to be like like
Yeah. Yeah, actually, one of the guys I go camping with just like last year started getting into them, and he was talking about his bonsai trees, like the drive up there, and super fascinating. Like, um, and like that almost like crosses my threshold of like, no, that's too much commitment.
You know what I thought of though? What would be so satisfying is not necessarily like a plant or a tree, but just like a 2 by 2 square foot of grass. You could just fucking randomly just stand on or something, you know? Like that always felt good. Like just right now, if I want to pop my socks off and just kind of like, stand on some grass right then and there, that'd be nice. But I don't know if it would attract insects. I mean, I hate it when I see
You'd have some
bugs.
ants and spiders crawling out of it, and you'd be like, ah, get this out of here.
Like, how'd this
Uh,
dandelion get in here?
yeah. House plants, you got a bunch, Dave?
We got like five or six. But like it's my wife's thing. It's not my thing at all. Like I try to be helpful and I'm like, I'm gonna help water the plants. And then my wife's like, no, 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 you're doing it all wrong. You don't feed that one much water. You're giving like this one doesn't need it, this one needs more. Like she knows all about it and she's like, yeah, the soil's dry right on top because it dries off there. But she's like, way down where the roots are, it's very moist. You're overwatering it. That's why it's not growing.
Hmm.
And she like knows all this stuff about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And she's like, just don't touch my plants. You're going to ruin them. She's like, it's taken me a very long time. She's like, this thing was like on life support for like 3 months and it seemed like it was going to die. But she's like, now it's doing great. So don't mess with it. So I just don't mess with it. And like, they're cool. I actually have a coworker. It was funny because this week my coworker showed me a picture of her house, and she has like this giant. It looks like a big old bookshelf, and it's filled with plants. She has plants all over it, and they're all like little potted plants. There's probably like 30 on this giant bookshelf, and she has like these UV lights that stick under like each shelf, so they all get like the proper amount of lighting and she was talking about like the science behind it and I it was such a coincidence because we're talking about this now and she was talking about how like she has like this probe and she'll stick it down into the soil and it'll like gauge the amount of moisture and water in the soil and like whether it needs to be watered or not and then she was talking about like she when she gets a new plant you have to worry about like little mealy bugs and spider bugs and different types of spider mites or something. I don't remember. And she's like, when you get a new plant, I can't just introduce it to all the other plants and put it on the shelf. I have to put it in a separate room and quarantine it to make sure there's no bugs on it. Because if I bring in any
Um,
bugs, they could just go to all the other plants. So she's like, I have my quarantine room where I bring my new plants and I'll have them in there for a month, make sure that they're okay and they're not bringing, like fleas to the bunch. And then she'll put them in with the other plants.
um, so yeah, I wonder if you two choose to have kids, will that be the same thing? You're like, you're doing it wrong. Like, get away from my child.
Yeah, you're overwatering it. He's thirsty. No, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's fine.
Oh, your daughter did something interesting. Oh, you used to call him our daughter. Oh man. Uh, Segway challenge?
Just
Let's
make like a tree and leave this topic.
All right. Okay, let's do my hate. I hate repeating myself.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
I can't hear you. I said I can't. Okay. So I'm gonna look at my notes here. I forgot I have some on my laptop here. So, oh, okay. This fucking mean girl move where you're like talking to them, they clearly heard you, right? But then they're like, what? Now, asking anyone to repeat what they just said, it's gonna throw them off or something, right? Like it's kind of a disrespectful thing where like, I don't know if you've ever had that in your life, encountered that thing, but you said something and then they just ask you to repeat. They're like, what? Like, but it's with a smile. It's just like I said, it's a mean girl move. Um, Stand up comedy. Now, I personally can't do this where I walk up to a friend and I'm like, oh, this happened today. The car broke down and blah, blah, blah. And then I end it with a joke or something like that, right? And they laugh, right? And then another friend shows up, and then I'm going to do the exact same routine and with the same joke or whatever. I can't do that. It feels weird to do that. Well, especially when the first friend was right there and just heard that whole routine. To turn around and do it to the same person in the same room is very weird to me. I don't do that, and I think it's weird when other people do it. Where it's like, what are you just like testing material on me? Like, what the fuck? It seems so false and weird. So, like, when I think of like stand-up comedians where you have to hit the line, hit this word in a certain way, and it's, saying the same material over and over again. I don't know if I could do that. Um, there are some people who would be like, oh, so you don't like repeating yourself, you don't like repetition. Is that why you are not in a committed relationship? Oh, I do think about that sometimes where I'm like, yeah, I do get annoyed with repetition and stuff. But repeating myself, as in like just having to repeat the words, I think that's way different. Um, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys say about repeating yourself?
Well, I did have that topic the one time about um I guess this is the opposite. I was gonna say people talking to me without getting my attention first, and then they get annoyed that they have to repeat themselves.
Oh, right.
Like the repetition is um the maybe the annoyance there. But like, yeah, I also hate it when you're you're like, I understand like, okay, you didn't hear it, say it again, but it like just sometimes you're like in a groove saying something and it just throws it completely off to like have to repeat it. And then it's the worst when it's something that was avoidable, like the person didn't hear you because they all of a sudden got something on their phone and they started paying attention to that instead of what you were saying. I'm like, no, I don't even want to say the thing now. Or when you're like in an environment that's loud or whatever, distracting or whatever reason. So like it's just over and over again that you have to repeat yourself. That is super frustrating.
Uh, what about you,
I-
Dave?
I'm I'm the same way with like coworkers. Like if I tell like a story of like what just happened, like some interaction that I had, and I'm telling it to a coworker, I like to make sure that all the coworkers are there in a group of like my coworker, and I'll tell them
Staff
all at
meeting.
once. Yeah, like band meeting, everyone bring it in. And like otherwise, if I'm just telling like one person or two people like a story of what happened, when the third or fourth person comes in, I'm not repeating the same really good story. I'm giving them the bare bones, boring version, like, yeah, this happened and this happened. And like sometimes like my coworkers would be like, "Oh, tell them what happened." And I'm like, I'm not giving the same Oscar-winning performance for this story anymore. I only had one performance in me and you guys got to see it. They're getting the sloppy seconds here and I'm just going to be like, "Yeah, this happened and they said this and blah, blah, blah."
I
I'll
remember
try. Oh, go ahead.
when we used to film skits and stuff that we would like have our planned dialogue and we'd like rehearse it a couple times and then we would just get bored with repeating it. So like we'd roll the camera and just do something completely different with it.
Yeah, I mean, like we'd still stick to the concept of what the scene's supposed to be, you know?
Hmm.
Man, I was in the play in high school, and yeah, you had to just run the lines over and over again. And we did 3 live performances overall to audiences, and that was weird. It really was because you have to make sure that it seems fresh to you, you know? So yeah, like acting turns out there's a lot more to it. Like reacting is very hard too. You have to somehow pretend what they're saying never heard before. You're like you have to have that thing. Um, that's interesting. And also when David Fincher, he has his actors do like 100 takes. After a while, would you just be like, okay, the first 10 takes, I'm going to give it up my all, but the next 90, they're going to be shit, David. So go ahead, record me all you want, you know? Like, I think we would clash a big time on that whole 100 takes every scene. Like, that's excessive. I don't know.
I think
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick did that too in The
Yeah,
Shining,
I'm sure
right?
he did. Yeah.
Yeah, but like with Kubrick it wasn't more like so like with Fincher it's like oh he has an idea of what he wants and he's waiting for that perfection to happen. Where with Kubrick, it was like he's like purposely like wearing down the actors,
Oh, yeah.
and like once like he'll use like the later takes because like they're letting down their guard, they're like giving like these crazy takes that they never would have done. They never would have let themselves do if they weren't like so worn down by it, which like both of these seem very manipulative in different ways. It's like um like there's the directors who just hire good actors and trust them to give a good performance and um but can't deny that these direct both of those directors have made great movies, so I don't know what to think.
Oh, you mentioned it sucks when you're in the groove. You said it just perfectly well, right? So you guys ran into that where someone is being an asshole, they clearly heard you and they're just like, "What?" And you're like, "I said, it just sucks. It's a bullshit attitude thing to do to someone that I hate it so much." But also, what was I gonna say? Oh, when I do tell a story to someone in the room and then someone else enters the room, I will tell them the story. However, I will make sure to word it differently or to end it with a different joke or something like that because I really like yeah, it seems totally bullshit to run lines, do your gimmick in front of someone. It seems so weird and fake. Yeah.
Yeah, if I ever have like someone who's like being an asshole and they're just like, "Oh, what'd you say?" It's you just have to match that energy and just be like, "I wasn't talking to you," and or like
We're the only ones in the
li
room.
listen and I won't have to repeat myself and just go on with your story because like it's like repeating yourself is like that's not an option. I'm not doing it because I'm not going to give you the pleasure of doing it. Like you don't dictate what I say, so fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when people legitimately didn't hear me, I'm often just like, "Oh, it doesn't matter." like what I'm saying is not relevant at all to the situation. Let's just move on.
When it's clearly, you know, you don't like each other and shit, like at a bar or something like that, the answer immediately is like, you fucking heard me. Like after that, like, you guys are gonna get into a scrap. You just know it, you know? Yeah, man.
Was it in Pulp Fiction? He's like, "Say what one more time? I dare you."
I double dare you, motherfucker.
Spectre says
Man.
what?
Anything else on repeating? Oh, see, okay. imagine we become musicians for some reason and we have to perform those songs. Even if you loved it, like you hear musicians like, oh, if I have to play that song one more fucking time, you know, it's like that sucks. That's you talk like one of the biggest things that bands suffer is the tour process where you're just you're seeing the same five dudes every fucking day and you're going to these different towns and you're playing the same songs and stuff like that breaks down bands. It's crazy. It's definitely one of those aspects of a band that you know it's endurance or something, you know, it's mental endurance. Like imagine
Yeah,
that we
you'll
form the Few Goldilock Bears band and we have to repeat uh play nuts. Like Dave, could you imagine that?
for the 280th time this year.
we're
You
like we're
know, I will defend pecans however many times it takes.
yeah, but you got to make it fresh for you, otherwise you just storm off stage like John. Oh man.
I think it's so crazy when there's you hear about bands are like, I hate playing that song. We always play that song. And it's like, yeah, that's the only song we want to hear from you because that's your best song. So like if you don't like it, maybe you should have thought of that over the last 20 years and written some better music, all right? But that song from 20 years ago, that was your best stuff. So just keep playing it.
Yeah. See, that's why I like bands who put out a bunch of work like one after the other because they don't like just repeating the same shit. There's like we have to think of a new song, maybe write it on the road while they're touring and stuff. Like that would be the key to get through that because yeah, fucking plain nuts. Could you imagine that tape? Like, where are
Oh,
we today? Hello, Brooklyn. We love you.
that's
People in
I
the
just
crowd, plain nuts, plain nuts. Like, I'm sorry, we don't take requests.
Right, right. Our free
we
bird
played
is
that last night in Des Moines. We're not doing it again.
oh, that'd be great. Just like fucking, you know, British bands like I won't do it, mate. I won't fucking do it, you know. Just play nuts, fuck yourself. Uh that's so
I
funny.
just
Like there was oh real quick, there was this band. Oh my God, what song was it? Fountains of Wayne, Stacy's mom. So they were like, I heard the song and I was like, it's a catchy song. People are gonna like it. I don't want it on the album. He's like, why? He's like, because it's a, you know, that'll be our only song anyone's gonna want to hear. And he's like, and you know, so like they put it out, and yeah, that's the only song they're requested to do all the time. They resent that thing, you know. That's crazy.
I agree
Yeah.
with
On
them
the
on
other
that because
hand,
that song is objectively bad.
there's like art. I think it was Sir Mix-a-Lot with I like big butts. Someone asked him like, "What do you think of that song today?" Like, I love it. Paid for that house, paid for that car, paid, like it just, he went like fully embraced it.
And that was a love for him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he was indifferent or if he hated big butts and he had to sing about that. All right. Is that the show? I think so. Tell them about the email, John.
Oh, well, like we're sick of coming up with our own topics, so get these lazy listeners and viewers to help us out a bit. So if you have something that you love, hate, or are indifferent to, send an email to topics at a few goldilockbears.com. We'll put a link in the show notes here and tell us what you love, hate, or are indifferent to and why. And maybe we'll talk about it on the show.